On cold winter nights, when the wind howled through the branches of the trees and the snow fell silently, the elders of the Chippewa tribe would gather around the fire to tell stories. Among the most terrifying was the legend of the Acheri, a vengeful spirit that lurked in the mountains and forests. The Acheri was the grieving soul of a young girl who had died a tragic death. Some said she had been the victim of a cruel murder, while others whispered that she had taken her own life for love. Whatever her origin, her spirit found no rest and returned to the world of the living to torment those who were still breathing. The Acheri manifested as a young woman with skin as pale as snow and eyes as black as night. Her long jet-black hair cascaded down her back, and her lips were as red as blood. She was said to be capable of shape-shifting, taking on the appearance of an owl or a she-wolf to stalk her victims. The Acheri roamed at night, especially during full moons. Its presence was announced by a shiver in the air and a sound similar to a ghostly whisper. It was said that it could enter houses through chimneys or windows, and that its main target was young children. The Acheri used different methods to attack its victims. It could cause disease, provoke terrifying nightmares, or even take children's lives with just a touch of its icy hand. Its breath was said to be as cold as ice and could freeze a man's soul in an instant. To protect themselves from the Acheri, people placed amulets and talismans in their homes. Bonfires were lit toward her, and rituals were performed to appease her spirit. The elders also passed on stories and legends about the Acheri to the new generations, so that they would always be alert and know how to protect themselves. However, in other versions, it is said that the spirit of a girl known as Acheri dwells in the shadowy mountain slopes of the Indian subcontinent. Legend has it that this spirit descends from her highland abode, shrouded in the cold mist of the mountains, to visit the villages that lie at her feet. Her presence, almost invisible to the eyes of adults, is a fleeting shadow that only the most sensitive can perceive, especially when the moon is hidden behind the clouds. The Acheri is not a malevolent spirit by nature, but the mournful echo of an existence cut short too soon. It is said that she was a child who suffered a premature death without receiving the proper ceremonies that ensure a peaceful passage to the afterlife. For this reason, her soul finds no rest and wanders among the living, burdened with the sadness and isolation of belonging neither to the spirit world nor to the world of humans. Her appearance is that of a small girl, with a fragile appearance and garments faded by time, barely distinguishable among the twilight and fog. Although she rarely shows herself clearly, those who have seen her from afar speak of her ethereal silhouette that sways gently, as if the mountain wind were playing with her. Her footsteps leave no trace, and her pace is so light that not even the foliage rustles in her wake. The arrival of the Acheri is associated with the emergence of diseases among the children of the villages. The elders say that her mere presence brings with it an icy air that sickens the youngest, as if her invisible touch drains the vitality of those who have not yet strengthened their spirits. Popular belief holds that she does not intentionally seek to cause harm, but that the illness is an unintentional manifestation of her grief and suffering. Another story relates that on some nights, particularly when the mist descends over the mountains, the melancholy song of the Acheri can be heard. They say that this song is so penetrating that it can make those who hear it sick, dragging the sickness from the spiritual realm into the physical. Community elders warn against paying attention to such melodies and protect themselves with amulets and prayers. To protect themselves from its influence, families adorn their homes and children with brightly colored amulets, especially in shades of red, believing that these cheerful colors can repel the sad figure of the Acheri. Red threads are tied around children's wrists and special prayers are whispered at nightfall, asking for protection against any evil that may lurk in the darkness. It is also told that an experienced shaman, after seeing his people suffer from the diseases brought by the Acheri, decides to confront her. Through a spiritual journey, he ascends the mountain where the Acheri resides and dialogues with her spirit. He learns that the Acheri is trapped in a cycle of pain and revenge, unable to pass to the other world. The shaman performs a ritual to appease her spirit, offering her gifts and promises to remember her with love and not fear. Legend has it that, since then, the incidence of mysterious illnesses in the village decreased significantly. In the New World, the indigenous cultures of the Americas tell stories of spirits that, although distinct in form and purpose, share characteristics with the Acheri. The stories speak of beings that guard the boundaries between the earthly and spirit worlds, often acting as protectors of sacred sites or as messengers between the living and the ancestors. These spirits take various forms, from animals to young human figures, each with its history and lessons for the community. Across the Atlantic, in Africa, the connection to the afterlife is equally vital to understanding the world. Here, ancestors play a central role, serving as guardians of wisdom and morality. Although not limited to the image of children or young beings, these spirits share the ability to influence the physical world, either by providing protection or, in some cases, by warning or punishing those who stray from the right path. Ritual practices and offerings are common to honor these spirits, securing their favor and protection. In Asia, belief in spirits that can affect daily life is also prevalent. In Japan, for example, stories of yokai and yurei capture the imagination, with beings that can be benign or malevolent, depending on their history and the circumstances of their death. Although they vary in nature and purpose, the idea that these spirits can influence the world of the living is a recurring theme, similar to the influence of the Acheri in India. In villages near the mountains, villagers use red threads as amulets to protect children from the Acheri, believing that this color has the power to ward off the malevolent entity. Families hang bells on their doors, the sound of which is thought to deter the spirit from approaching homes. In addition, special prayers are recited at dusk, seeking to create a blanket of spiritual protection that envelops the community and keeps the youngest safe from the disease that the Acheri could bring. These practices, rooted in tradition, manifest the collective effort to confront a shared fear while fortifying the bond between community members. In modern society, the legend of the Acheri transcends its mythological origin to infiltrate the cultural realm through diverse media such as literature, film, and television. Story creators are attracted to the specter of a girl who, from the shadows of the mountains, brings sickness and desolation, transforming her into a recurring figure in the horror and suspense genre. Cinema, in particular, has found in the Acheri a muse for exploring themes of loss, corrupted innocence, and the impact of the past on the present. Films featuring the Acheri or similar entities often set her in isolated locations, where proximity to nature and remoteness from modern civilization reinforce her connection to an older, more mysterious world. These stories often center on the unexpected appearance of the Acheri, triggering a series of events that force the characters to confront not only the supernatural but also their fears and secrets. In literature, the Acheri inspires stories that focus on the psychological, exploring how fear of the unknown and the supernatural reflect human insecurities. Authors play with the ambiguity of the Acheri, sometimes presenting it more as a manifestation of the character's inner concerns than as an external threat. This duality allows for a rich exploration of themes such as grief, guilt, and the possibility of redemption. In the digital realm, the legend of the Acheri has spread through forums, blogs, and social networks, where communities of folklore and paranormal enthusiasts share stories and interpretations. These online discussions not only perpetuate the legend, but also allow it to evolve, with new details and variants emerging from the collective imagination of its participants. There is no definitive story about the final fate of the Acheri. Some believe that her spirit still roams the mountains and forests, seeking revenge. Others believe she finally found the peace and rest she longed for.